The fuck is this? The fuck is
Much
that?
louder, please.
The fuck are those?
Great. Super. So we talked about getting 1,000 shares for 1,000 euros for 1,000 shares for the Boku if we could create something that would travel across this festival in 24 hours' time. How did we do? Well, first of all, we created a video. How many of you saw it? How many of you shared it? Okay, so this is the video. Maybe it'll play.
Hello friends, Michael Buchinger here. Wir möchten zeigen, wie Content sein kann und was Content bewirken kann, und deswegen wäre es toll, wenn wir für dieses Video mindestens 1000 Shares erreichen, um die Klimaprojekte der Boku zu unterstützen, denn das finde ich eine gute Sache. Ist doch ein schönes Video. Danke, dass ihr mit dabei wart. Ciao.
So that was our little experiment. Thanks with Mickey Buchinger to support it, and obviously you guys. I looked at some of the pictures and kind of watched what we had done yesterday. I was so proud of everybody to kind of say, get up, do something, move around, get together on a spur of the moment, and make something happen. And then obviously the goal was to share it, right? Sorry, it's a bad 70s joke. How many of you have shared it? How many of you have not shared it? How many of you have a mobile phone and want to share it right now? No, it's no big deal. We'll show you how it went and how it traveled, but feel free. It's on the 15 Seconds Facebook page, and you can still go off and share it to support Boku. But basically, I'm going to spare us the introductions because you know who Mary is, our director. You know who Marion is. Mary, because obviously we showed this yesterday, and she created this fantastic video. You know Marion, who's to my right. Who's our Instagrammer extraordinaire and master of all things calm and organized. And you kind of know me for being around doing all kinds of crazy stuff like today. So we wanted to take a little bit of time to show you what we did. And we want to make handstands. I'm looking over my shoulder because the screen here isn't working. I think it's probably because it's my laptop today, so pardon me if I'm not looking at you guys. We had to throw this together at the last minute as well. It's part of the process. So we wanted to support the Boku. We had Mickey Buchinger on board. We had an idea about content and creation and distribution. We did this thing together yesterday, where we all got together for 15 or 20 minutes and made something. We split into groups. We got creative. We made stuff. We posted stuff on social media. I raced back and forth with my scooter a few times back to the hotel where Rafa and Mary were madly editing with the support and supervision from Marion. That was fun. I have an electric scooter. It's never worked so hard in one day in its entire life. It had no idea it could go back and forth from here in so many times. We announced it on the main stage yesterday afternoon. Florian from Runtastic was giving his speech. He gave us a little bit of a moment. We got to show it while he was giving his talk, which was great. And then we thought, 4:30 in the afternoon, there's the big moment. What's actually going to happen? This morning at 10 a.m., we put a 200 euro budget against it. We targeted video views on desktop and the mobile feed on Facebook. We targeted people who had engaged with the Facebook page of the 15 Seconds over the course of the last year. We targeted the top 25% of the visitors to the 15 Seconds web page in general. That means the people who visited the 15 Seconds page the most often over the course of the last year. We targeted everybody who was a 15 Seconds Facebook fan and everybody who is here now. So a nice custom audience that was built. alongside of the 15 Seconds Facebook group to figure out, okay, how can we do this? What do we get from organic reach? What do we get from paid reach? And what can we do inside of a 22-hour period, right? And the results were pretty, I mean, for me, were, how do we say, we didn't get to our ultimate goal of getting 1,000 shares, but what you will see is that in comparison to everything else going on here at this conference, this thing kicked ass, which for a 1.5-hour project is pretty fucking cool. So we had, this is taken 40 minutes ago. I just grabbed a last little screenshot. We've got 38,000 organic views, reach, sorry, 38,000 organic reach, 7,000 paid reach from this morning on Facebook. We've had 231 shares, 80 likes, and 12.5 thousand views on the video, which in a short period of time for what it is that we've done, I was pretty impressed with. I thought it actually went pretty well. Breaking it down a little bit more further, you'll see that the post reached 45,000 people. As I said, it had 11.4 thousand views, 509 reactions and comments, of which 242 shares here. And next to it, the 231 on the post itself. So not a bad thing. And that you get out of the Facebook environment. That we get from just looking at post engagement on Facebook. What we did with Story Clash, which is the startup out of Vienna that we've worked with to measure interaction, to measure usage in real time, is we looked at how this compared to other things going on across the 15 Seconds Festival. And so their basic product uses the APIs from different services, including Facebook, to measure interaction rates. Here you can see there were 297 interactions in the total period, broken down by type, whether it's a share or a like or whatever. Pretty cool, but what it lets you do is then look at it in comparison. So here is all of what 15 Seconds has been doing. And you can see that it's the top post amongst all of these things, right? Definitely no caption needed, hanging goodies, life is all around us, etc. But what's really interesting is if you take Instagram out of it, or the other posts other than Facebook, Instagram we think is really, really interesting, but it's also just based on a like. And so a like interaction and compared to a share interaction on Facebook might not have the same weight. And when you take that out and you look at just what the Facebook page has done for 15 seconds, you can see it's the outlier. And it was the outlier long before any advertising money was put against it this morning. We were already well above 30,000 in reach and 10,000 in views before a penny of advertising was put behind it. And we think, first of all, Facebook loves video. Facebook loves networking. The shares obviously help this thing travel because Facebook recognizes that as a viral element. And in comparison, we were somewhere between 5 to 10 times more successful than any of the other content that had been shared on 15 Seconds over the course of the past 2 days. So congratulations. But more importantly, I think as an experiment, it's kind of taught us a lot about how things travel, how things get created, and what happens when you do it. And I've modified the little slide that I showed you yesterday, where yesterday I said content, creativity, and distribution in the digital age, and just adding those 3 words at the bottom is fucking hard work. And I think that one learning for today and for all of us and hopefully for all of you is that everybody out there talking about instant solutions and oh, it's really easy and oh, I can give you that and oh, I can do that. If it's not bullshit, it's some kind of magic that none of us really know about. And I think that's one of the learnings that we've got. The right people in the right place at the right time, it still takes a whole lot of effort. It took all of us. It took all of Facebook, it took the main stage and this stage and hotel travel and a film and cutting and editing and marketing and a little advertising dollars behind it, all of that to make this thing work. And that's not easy. Sometimes it can be easier, but definitely not easy because of our thing that we talked about yesterday and the need to combine all of these things together that we also discussed a little bit yesterday. So I thought, and I'm sorry for going quickly because I knew that we had time pressure given a little bit of a late start, but also because this is the last media stage presentation of the day, and we thought that it might be a little bit more fun to just answer some questions. I've done a shitload of talking up until now, but the two people that you have on stage really know what this whole thing is about. Someone who's had an incredible amount of success doing videos online with Wiener Portrait and also the Dance for Love Around the World video. I mean, someone in Austria who I think is second to none in terms of doing what she does. Mary, obviously. And Marion, one of the first people on Instagram in the country, knows inside and out what it's like to be an influencer in the marketplace, also knows what it's like to travel alongside of somebody who doesn't want to travel all the time. So I think if you've got some questions either about the project or directly to them, this would be a great forum and an opportunity to ask. But I got one for you first, which is, what's your impression of the whole thing? What did you think about the video, the project, and the experiment itself? And if any of you have feedback for us as a group, that would be great to get as well. So Q&A, a little bit of an open session, and then off we go.
Does this work by now?
Don't be shy.
Yeah, do you hear me? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I think just to answer maybe one question that I would have for you guys is, a lot of you have not seen the video and some of you have seen it, but a lot of you have decided not to share it. And we were discussing back and forth why people wouldn't share it, maybe even if they were part of the experiment, if the content that we created was not good enough to be shared. And we were discussing a lot about that, and we found some issues with the video because it was put together in such a short amount of time, we only had this 1 or 2 hours, that we thought about it would have been better maybe to have something prepared, like a beginning and an ending, and only put in the clips that we produced yesterday in the middle and have more of a storyline. But maybe some of you can tell us what you thought about the video, if you have seen it, and you want to share. You wanted to ask something, I think.
Bitte. As you'd say in
But
German,
you wanted to ask something differently, maybe. I don't know, yeah.
Auf Deutsch, sag mal, hau rein. Nein? All right, never mind. You would say dig in, then dig in.
I didn't want to ask, I wanted to answer his question. I mean...
You have to speak a little louder, please.
Yeah, sure. I wanted to answer your question. I wasn't here, I was just here for a couple of minutes yesterday, but now that I'm looking into the results, I'm always very interested. I think it's really cool that you guys are actually doing it and showing it in real time. So I got a lot of inspiration myself, and from what works, what maybe doesn't work. I couldn't comment on the video because I haven't seen kind of focused, but I'm pretty sure if we break it down and digest it, we can come up with some patterns why it wasn't going to achieve the results that you guys are aiming for. But pretty impressive anyway, quite inspiring.
I'm sorry, can you go ahead, please?
Thank you. So what I think we saw is that people shared it the first time from the Facebook page, but then it wasn't reshared, so it wasn't picked up by people outside of the festival. That was one of the main takeaways. So everyone that was kind of involved here had a higher motivation, obviously, to share it. And then everyone from outside, it didn't get picked up. So even on Michi Buchinger's Facebook page, where we thought, okay, that's his hardcore fans, they would probably share it because he was in that video a lot. It didn't get shared not one single time. Although we made the incentive that for each share, we would put €1 for a good cause. So the good cause alone is not enough. A nice enough video is not enough, but you need to integrate people obviously more into whatever is happening in that video.
I think it would have been interesting to see the difference between doing something with Michi on his YouTube page as opposed to doing it on Facebook. My impression is that Buchinger is funny and interesting, but he's also a YouTuber, and I think the mainstay of his audience is probably YouTube-based, and I wonder whether or not from a scale of influence, if you want to call it that, if on a scale of influence or a scale of attention perspective, if it wouldn't have been more engaging to use on his home turf instead of on Facebook.
I think that's what's happening with a lot of, campaigns, that people think if they use one of the big influencers, be it Michi Buchinger or someone else, they will pick up.
Yeah.
Just like it's a sold principle, but it's not. It's not like that. Just because it's Michi Buchinger, it's going to work. This is not what it's like, unfortunately. And
so
also,
one good learning.
Exactly, it's the same for me. If I do some Instagram campaign, some work better, some don't work so well, because sometimes the content isn't as good, or the fit with my target group isn't as good.
Is that my ass? I think it is. That's good. Great. Never had that. Any other questions or comments, feedback? No? Was it worth doing? Did you learn something from doing this? Because I definitely did. Not just about the pace and going through it, but I thought that it was a pretty interesting learning experience of cooperation and working together with you guys, but also watching it kind of go through the ecosystem here. I learned a lot about festivals as well, that the people at festivals generally, as I've been in my own time, are also very interested in what they're doing at the moment, and it's really hard then to kind of latch back onto other stuff because there's always something that goes on next. There's always the next stage, the next event, the next party, the next joint to smoke, the next beer to have, the next conference to go to the next morning, the next hangover to have, etc. I've always thought that would be kind of maybe part of the confusion about doing it inside of a festival like this. Mary, what do you think? Do you have any thoughts you want to share or feeling kind of the way that this went for you? With the microphone.
Yeah. I think everything has been said already, but yeah, I think it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to create content that goes viral. You can never plan something like that. For example, when I published the dance video, we first published it on YouTube, and everyone shared the YouTube link on Facebook, and it didn't go viral, and everyone expected it to go viral. And we had 2,000 views for 3 days. And I posted it on Facebook then, and we had 200,000 views after a week. And then a month later, a page posted it, the United Nations, and then I had 4 million views a day. So you never know when people will pick something up, and yeah, that's it. You can't plan certain things, no matter how much work you put into it. You just have to do it with your heart, and then hope for the best. That's it.
Do it with your heart and hope for the best. I like that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I almost want to end it there. Any final questions or final words, comments, or anything like that? Please. Yeah.
Is it working? Yeah? Okay. I just wanted to say that I think it was a really cool idea and very brave to do something like that live and on stage, because I don't think that many people would be courageous enough just even to try it, and that's in the end that's what the festival is about, right? Trying things. And I don't know, one explanation I could think of is that it's about storytelling, right? And a story has to build up, and you have to get this buy-in and this understanding what it is all about. And I could imagine that the video itself, maybe it wasn't enough context around it, right? Because people 15 seconds or Marketing Rockstars is about marketing, it's about technology in the future, and it's not obvious what the sustainability and changing the world in this way really is, how it's related to the festival.
Yes.
That's just one thing I could think about, that maybe it would have just taken more storytelling in beforehand, but that was impossible because it was an on-stage experiment. But that's just one thing I could think about. Yeah. I
like that. We thought about what would it have been like if maybe we try this next year. Is if Stefan and Timo had been doing it instead of Michi, for example, or if we had Florian Schwander from Fantastic during his speech, but I think he could have been maybe involved. This is maybe part of the puzzle of the way you build that involvement or storytelling. But again, I think one of the things we definitely learned is the logistical complications of doing stuff over the course of a 12-hour or 18-hour period, plus the little bit of prep. But again, I think the basics were really about an experiment with you all, rather than trying to create the viral. And just by the way, despite getting whatever it is, 250 or 341 shares or whatever it is, we're still donating to Boku. We're still going to support them. I mean, that was always a given in the equation. So keep sharing, and we'll keep giving.
Just one additional comment following up on that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I wasn't here yesterday for the...
Damn you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. For the experiment. Please do it again next year. Maybe even start the brainstorming on the 15 seconds group from before, so people feel more invested to be part of it if they had contributed to voting to which idea we're going to do. And also, when it comes to the sharing, I always feel reluctant to share when I feel that the people that are going to see the content don't have any clue what's going on. I think it was an insider for the 15-second festival. And that's why everyone here, let's say, shared it with their friends or liked it or reacted to it. But if I'm having 80% of people who have no idea what 15 seconds are, I'm going to think twice before sharing it. So if it's a message that is very general, that can touch everyone's heart, as you said, I think a lot of people would have shared it. And maybe next year it's going to be even 2,000.
It's a very, very good point. So, and if there are any last questions, comments? No? Well, I want to personally thank you all for taking part of this and kind of being part of an experience for the last day or so with us. I'd like to thank you for your time and effort and for having us here today. And for my partners for going through this experiment with members of our team that are over here as well. Hi, guys. The two guys that were here as well. Bravo. Thank you all, and have a great end of the conference.